Steve and Ashley finally got their twins to sleep through the night. But the thought of saving for 2 college tuitions kept them up at night. That's why they decided to meet with their Regions banker to build a Regions Green Print plan, a financial roadmap personalized for what matters most to them. Now Steve and Ashley are confident in reaching their goals for today and tomorrow. Start building your financial confidence with a Regions Green Print plan. It's free, and it's only from Regions Bank. Visit regions.com to find a branch near you. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio in the Gas South Convention Center, it's time for Gwinnett Business Radio. Gwinnett Business Radio is presented by Regions Bank, member FDIC.
And greetings and salutations, everybody. Thank you, Amanda, for bringing us into another hopefully award-winning edition of Gwinnett Business Radio. I am your slightly annoying host, Stephen Julian, welcoming you to the show from the Gas South District Convention Center here in Duluth, Georgia, inside the Subaru of Gwinnett studios. We've got a great guest today. Before we get to that great guest, I get to introduce you to my trusty co-host, Harper LaBelle.
What's with the to
I
and
don't
from
know. I don't know.
and inside?
I haven't had my third cup of coffee, so I think it's false energy.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
You're not feeling it today?
No. I'm working through it.
Okay.
We'll see. Now I'm very conscious about.
See, Amanda
just
brought a
staying
great
on.
introduction.
She did.
And when are they going to? Because you're so slightly annoying, I don't think you're ever going to be asked to do one of the intros.
No, I never will.
Not for
no,
our,
that'll
not
never
for
happen.
This show.
You listen. In my line of work as my day job, I'm not allowed to say guarantee a lot.
Yeah.
I can guarantee they will never have me do an intro.
Death,
to this show.
taxes, and introductions.
And Stephen not on the introduction.
Yeah. Well, I love that, and I also love what makes a Subaru, and that is love. You can enjoy the big savings and the hassle-free experience at Subaru of Gwinnett, where people sell cars. You can visit them at SubaruofGwinnett.com. Join their family today, or you can come in and see the difference. They're at 2950 Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, 2 blocks north of the mall. Their phone number for sales is 470-824-3860. Go visit them to find the Impreza, the Legacy, the Forester. They've got some great deals for you. You can check out their Facebook page also for the latest news, offers, and community events.
That was fantastic. No false energy in that.
Well, there was no false energy, but I did slur my words a couple of times.
Well, someone who will not do that. We are excited to have with us in the studio Reid Tullis. She is an insurance advisor with the Chrissy Pulliam Agency of American Family Insurance. Reid, welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having me today, and I cannot promise I'm not going to slur my words too. I'm a bit of a stutterer.
We'll get you going though. If you have any problem at all, we can get you pointed in that right direction.
If you do, it'll be because you're so excited to talk about insurance.
Exactly.
So,
thoughts running too fast.
Exactly. Obviously, American Family Insurance, almost everybody, if not everybody, has heard of the firm. But tell everybody specifically the types of lines of insurance and kind of what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So American Family Insurance, they've been in business for about 100 years. It's been a while. But they're in select states. They broker other states, but mainly in just a few select states. They're a mutually owned company, which is different than a lot of insurance companies in the sense, we are owned by our clients. There's nobody investing in you and taking stock out on whether or not you're going to crash your car or not. We are owned by our clients. So yeah, that's American Family Insurance.
And I think that's I actually think that I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's actually a great place to start. That mutually owned is not something to just be brushed over.
No.
When you kind of talked about people taking stock, when you're mutually owned, it's a mutual beneficial relationship as the clients who are also the owners of the policies. If they have fewer accidents, if they have fewer claims, that is what's going to help keep the price down rather than just, we had fewer claims, so that's more profit to the shareholders.
Exactly.
Is that a fair description?
Exactly. No, that's exactly how it is that, and that's where you'll see American Family. They consider themselves a bit of a risk-free company. They're a bit selective of who, if you have multiple car accidents, lots of claims on there, you're probably not going to fit in the American Family niche because, we're owned by our clients, that way if you have a lot of claims on there, you're going to bring up our other clients' insurance, and that's not fair for them if they don't have a lot of claims. So keep it kind of small, keep it kind of low. But we write all lines of insurance, home, auto, life insurance, commercial insurance. And from commercial, we're talking rental properties, general liability, transportation, all of it. We are here to help.
So I do want to, I am going to go to the other side of the coin a little bit, because when you're mutually owned, there's a potential for some of your costs to be lower as part owner and mutually own your insurance. But we are in kind of a time, correct me if I'm wrong, rates are kind of going up. Can you explain, can you kind of help our listeners? And of course, some of them might want to throw things at their device that they're listening to this podcast, because in some cases it's been a little frustrating. We're recording this in the year 2024, and it's kind of been this inflation across everything, including insurance rates. So why are insurance rates on the rise? Can you at least kind of educate us a little bit, so maybe we don't get as mad at our agent, or at least understand what you guys are trying to do to help with the rise in rates so that it's not too out of control?
Absolutely. And yes, it's so frustrating that they're going up, and they're probably going to throw their phones when I say a big part of it is unfortunately inflation. The price of everything is going up. The price to fix cars, the price to fix homes. And we have seen homes go, 10 years ago, it's $150 a square foot. Now to replace a home, it's $250 a square foot. It's so much more expensive to put things back together again. And that's, of course, what we're here to do. So a big part of the increase you're seeing is going to be, unfortunately, inflation. Also, just so many losses. There have been massive losses across the board, all over the country, just natural just all these weather losses you're having, all these storms. Florida is getting hit like crazy, and they're paying out. And as we pay out, we're mutually owned. So, that's rates are going back up. Absolutely. Right? And Georgia specifically, y'all are all going to hate me for this. We're actually number one in the country for having the highest insurance rates for cars. We are number one out there. And the big reasons for that is there are a lot of car accidents here, a lot of uninsured drivers here. So when you have your uninsured drivers, your insurance company is going to have to pay out if you've gotten in a wreck and there's not anyone else to pay for it. So that the more uninsured drivers, the higher it's going to go, because we've got to help you out a little bit more. And the other thing in Georgia is everyone's suing each other. I know you're laughing. It's terrible. But you see these signs all over where these lawyers are like, hey, you got in a crash, give us a call. People are calling, or the lawyers are calling them. 80% of car accidents these days are ending in lawsuits, where they're getting more money than to just fix their cars. And, obviously there are issues that come about where you do need more help. And, we understand that, but, that does.
Among the many things that you've mentioned, the interesting part for me is the rates are going up. So I would think more than ever, it's a great time to at least examine your own policies to try to find out whether or not you can save. And that's where someone like you comes in, right?
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit more about what that phone call would consist of.
Yes, of savings. So, and it's different, of course. I highly recommend, the big thing is make sure you're reviewing all your insurance policies and talking to your agents.
Who wants to do that? And when
I
do you
know,
do that?
it's not
Do you literally
exciting.
have to tie a string around your finger and go, okay, this is the time that I want to do that?
You could put an alert in your phone.
You could put an alert in your phone and say, hey, you know what? This is the time. This is the time I should call my insurance agent and make sure.
Yeah, but then you're going to put snooze, and you're going to delay it another couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
But when you eventually get to that, what are some of the things that you help to address with people to find a little too much here, a little too little, the Goldilocks moment, I call it, when you this is going to be just right for you?
Absolutely. So a big one is we're seeing a lot of people work from home these days. You're not in your car that much. You should let your insurance agent know that. Hey, I work from home. I probably drive like maybe 2 or 3 times a week. That's huge. You can see your rates go down from just that. Another big one that I recommend to everyone is defensive driver courses. You can take these courses online really quick. They last for 3 years. Those will give you a huge discount on your insurance. And then also individual insurance companies do have different savings options. American Family, a big one we have. We just kind of trying to take it back to the COVID times where you're getting reimbursed for not driving around a lot. It's called Miles My Way, where the less you drive, the more money we give you back for it. We put almost like a little Fitbit in your car. It's going to count the miles of your car, and then the less you drive, the more money we'll give you back for it. Also, a lot of companies have these little things where it'll detect how you're driving. You'll get a discount for how you're driving too. All these, they don't sound fun, but they will save you a lot of money in there.
They add up.
It really does add up. It
So
really does.
You mentioned in one of your lines of coverage, you talked about business insurance. And so I wanted to ask, we are Gwinnett Business Radio. I wanted to ask, as someone who's kind of in that insurance industry, is there a policy or two that we would be surprised at how many business owners maybe don't utilize it or don't have it? And because one of the things about insurance is you don't want to overinsure, but you definitely don't want to underinsure, especially when a lot of your net worth might be tied up in a personal business. You're a sole proprietorship. You're a key person in an insurance. So what are some of the lines of coverage that as a business owner, you just want to make sure they're checking off the boxes? Hey, make sure you're looking at this or talking to me or someone else about this type of coverage.
Oh, 100%. And I think a big thing you said there is you don't want to be overinsured, but you also don't want to be underinsured. And you do see a lot of times people who are just as overinsured as they are underinsured. And a lot of those coverages you should be looking for is, your liability insurance. Where is that sitting? We see a lot of people who own, rental properties and all that. You don't need to be paying for personal property on rental homes when your personal property isn't in that home. The home is yours, just the structure. So you shouldn't be paying for your tenant's personal property. So that's a big one we see a lot of times. Another one is employment practices. Do you have coverage in case you fire your employee and they sue you? Because that's not just covered in your normal liability. Because that's out of the norm is when your employees quit and they just start suing you. That is an additional coverage that goes on a lot of these policies that, if you don't ask about, sometimes it won't get put on there. And so that's a good one, as always.
You mentioned renters. For the folks that are listening that are new to Gwinnett.
Yes.
We've had a couple of guests on our show who have been in charge of a lot of new buildings that are in place. What would you recommend for a renter of an apartment or a leaser that is underinsured and doesn't want to lose their stuff, but just don't have a whole lot of money left at the end of the month? How do you help find the right niche for them?
So for renters that are renting apartments and, where do they get coverage? You definitely need it because, it's required, I think, in a lot of these places now.
And things happen.
Hey, things do happen. One big coverage that I hope everyone's listening, everyone needs this on all their policies here in Georgia, is called sewer backup. It's as gross as it sounds, when your sewer backs up into your home, apartments, and then it floods everything. That coverage is not covered under normal policies, and if it happens, it is on you. And in apartments, if it goes down the floors, it's also on you. Ooh. And that is not fun. Luckily, though, with renters policies, I highly recommend making sure that wherever you're putting your renter's insurance, it is tagged along with your auto insurance. Don't be jumping around multiple different companies. Sometimes you think that that'll save you some money, but it doesn't. Bundle those policies. Wherever your auto insurance is, put your renter's insurance there. It's going to give you the biggest savings.
I'm glad you brought up bundling. Because bundling is a topic that's been around for a while. Is it almost exclusively better to bundle? I mean, okay. So wherever
she's nodding.
I am nodding.
So as you're doing your shopping, just go ahead and plan on bundling, if not everything, almost everything. I would think there might be a scenario where the business side of things, if I'm a business owner, that might potentially be different, but it really, and I guess that's also the reason to review and shop your rate. So how, we were joking about string on the finger, which I guess, how would you snooze? You said you could snooze it if it came up on your phone. I don't know how you snooze the string.
Well, you take a nap, and then when you wake up, it's still there.
So,
and someone's pulling your finger, and weird things are going to start coming out.
Mark it down. 15 minutes into the show, we've had our first pull your finger joke. Brought to by the guest. That was great. Yeah. Well done. Yeah. Well done, Reid. So I guess one of the questions to ask is, how often should you shop your rates? In a perfect world or in an ideal scenario, without doing it too much, is it once a year? Is that what you would advise, or give us some guidance there?
Once a year is a lot. That's a lot of work. And I would always recommend. The one misconception is that there is a loyalty discount and like
There's
loyalty
not.
benefits.
There's
There
not.
is not.
Yeah.
No, you're held to the well, I told you I'd stutter. You're held to the same standards as a newbie, unfortunately. So every 3 to 5 years, I would recommend just shopping around. And it is as easy as just sending an email to a nearby company, giving them your name, your date of birth, and your address, and they can pull it all. And they can go from there and start you up some quotes and just, they'll send you back the numbers. You hate them, don't move on. If you like them, move forward.
And I was going to say, now I'm going to speak a little bit from personal experience. When you do that, make sure all the coverages are the same, right?
100%.
Because someone else that is not as ethical as you guys are at American Family might go, look, it's cheaper. And then it wouldn't be hard to kind of recognize, well, wait a minute, you're giving me less coverage.
Oh,
it better
absolutely.
be. So unfortunately, does that happen?
Unfortunately, it happens all the time. It actually happened just last week. We were at a little event downtown Buford, met a few people, and one of the guys came over and actually came into the office. We do, you can come in our office and we'll look at your policies, break it down for you, because we're not just going to try and sell you. We want to make sure you're properly insured, because it's a scary world these days. And especially nowadays, it's just as easy to get your claims denied if your policies aren't written correctly, because just things are crazy right now. This kid came in and we were looking at all his policies, and when I quoted it on our side, we were coming in higher, and he was like, well, why is that? So I looked through his policy, and his roof on his home was listed as 47 years old. And here in Georgia, at 15 years, your roof changes to actual cash value, which means if something happens to your roof, we will give you what it is worth to replace a 15-year-old roof. As most of the time, 15 and under, most homes are insured at replacement cost, which means whether it's 14 years old, we're going to give you a 1-year-old roof. We're going to give you a brand new roof. We're going to pay for it, right? His roof was listed at 47 years old, had absolutely no coverage on it, had no idea. If anything had happened to that roof, his insurance company would have been like, wipe their hands with that, because they didn't have any coverage. The roof was actually 10 years old. It was only a 10-year-old roof. He had no coverage on it, had no idea. And I mean, that's just one of those big things that he would never have known that unless he had looked at his policy, asked somebody to look at his policy, and, became aware of it. And then we had all these big storms come through, and he was like, please get me started with some coverage that can actually help me. And that, it's important. It's really important.
You mentioned that as a specific story. Say that 3 times. A specific
story.
There you go. You got it.
She did good.
I'm on fire right now.
In terms of, let's say, life insurance, because I know there's whole, there's universal, there's just term. I would imagine the best thing, like what you just mentioned. Now, you said this is a kid that just came in, and you're what? You're so young. It's embarrassing.
Guess. What? How old am I?
Well, you kind of told us pre-show, so I did that.
I didn't remember. Well,
she said when her graduation was. So
everyone's having their 29th
30,
birthday. Yeah.
There you go. That was good.
But the ability for an individual, again, to put the finger around their string or to set the snooze alarm, to say, hey, I need to reconsider what my life insurance is because I'm making more money, or because I got a new job, or because I'm going to start my business now. There's a lot of reasons to visit with you over things like that as well, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Life insurance is just as important, even when we're young and we think we're against the world. If you have anyone that counts on you for anything, you need to have life insurance, because your debt unfortunately doesn't just disappear if you pass on. It just passes on to your family, and then they have to take care of all that. It's not fun, but I always recommend to people, you should at least have 3 years worth of a salary in life insurance, at least, just in case something happens. And when you're younger, it's easier to get really affordable life insurance, and you can get these term plans and you can tier it out. Of course, whole lives are nice and they'll last for your whole life, but they do tend to be a bit expensive. But, you can get like a smaller whole life. It'll grow cash value. You can borrow against it later on down your life. But getting these term policies put in place, I have $1 million term policy. I am 29. I have $1 million, and I pay about $30 a month for it. and it lasts 30 years. And if I waited 10 more years to get that, it's going to be 50. It just gets,
If someone told you, hey, the amount of money you're spending on your streaming plans every month, right, or your internet coverage, so what you're paying for internet, if that could create $1 million for your loved ones, if the worst should happen to you, is that worth it? Is that 100%. Worth it? So to me, it's figure out a way to get this into your budget. It's a necessary thing, and someone who has some kind of job and people that depend on them, there is almost no reason why under the age of 50 they shouldn't have something.
Oh, absolutely.
It can be worked into their budget, right? It's that inexpensive.
It's that inexpensive. Well, and you also have to think, even if you're sitting here debt free and you're like, oh, nobody counts on me, somebody is going to mourn your loss. And when you pass on, it is nice to have something that you can give to your family and be like, hey, you can take a break for a second. You have time to mourn. You have a transition period. So,
well, even if you say, hey, no one depends on me. Okay, well, what's your favorite cause? Well, set them up as the beneficiary, right?
There it is.
And I was going to say, you've been sitting here talking, and you've done such a good job of trying to be as positive as possible about rate hikes and I didn't know my roof wasn't covered by these other people who supposedly are caring for me and all this kind of stuff. But when it comes to life insurance, once you set up the policy, as long as you make the payments, there's no real trickery that they can come back to. The policy is the policy is the policy. Am I right on that?
No, you're 100% right.
So as someone in the industry, you'd be like, I need to sell as much life insurance as possible because there's very little that they can get mad at me about once we get the policy set up.
Absolutely. But the one thing I'm always going to tell everyone about life insurance, you ready for this?
Yeah.
There is no registry for your life insurance. Your family can't go and Google online and be like, where is my son's life insurance plan right now? You need to let someone know, hey, I just took out a life insurance policy. This is who it's with. Here's the packet of information. Keep that in case something happens, because, we're not going to know if something happens to you. I mean, eventually, obviously, we'll figure it out, but we are not able to reach out to someone. They'll have to reach out to
That's why they should have a trusted advisor, both an insurance advisor and maybe a financial advisor who knows that stuff. Wow.
Well, it's like we're here for a team.
Yeah, exactly.
They call him Segway, Stephen.
Yeah, that was good.
There we go.
Hey,
there we
talk
go.
about reaching out. Tell us a little bit about Dream Bank and what American Family is wanting to do with that. The Dream Bank policy. When you go online, you can see different things. And for example, when I went online, first thing I see is we're baseball guys. Is Derek Jeter. So he's your national spokesman, right? Great guy that you consider, okay, he's a world champion, family, all these things that would check the box. It's a home run. And I use that as a pun intended.
Nice.
That's my segue.
Well done. Or a double to the right field gap.
He can do that too.
Yeah.
But also, I see different places where you can get information and look at resources and start to gather. And if you can do your own research, and that would make it easier for the person on my end of the website to learn more about what you do and how you're growing as a business. Talk a little bit about the growth and how you're trying to catch up to the bigger companies that are out there that aren't under the same plan. They do have shareholders in their national association of the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ. You guys are a little bit different. So express a little bit about your understanding of how you're growing to get to be number one in a world that is very, very competitive.
Absolutely. So at American Family, we are probably not going to get, a lot of these companies do insure every state in America, and that's where they get kind of a little, they cause issues, because you're insured in Florida, you're having insured Florida issues, or out west, they have all those issues.
It's different in Montana than it would be in Florida.
Exactly.
I get that.
Exactly. Yeah. So American Family, what we do, we broker into other states. So you'll see if you go on American Family's website, there's something called Connect. American Family Connect. So you still have that same A+ rated company protecting you, but on just a different scale. It's not going to affect people in other states, and you're over here with your good coverage in your state, and they're over here, and they're not going to clash. We're not going to see the effects of both of those. So, but really what American Family is doing to try and grow and spread Just awareness is just that, spreading awareness. We are just trying to be advisors. We never consider ourselves salespeople. We are advisors. We're just trying to help you understand. Nobody took this class in college or in high school. How do you do insurance? What does it mean? What is a dwelling? What is a deductible? It's new. I didn't know it until I started. And so that's what American Family's goal is. We're advising. We're just trying to help you understand and do what we can where we can, because we might not be the right insurance company for you. But I will look at your insurance policies and make sure that you are covered with the insurance company that is helping you. And that is your good fit.
So I think we've come to the time in this interview where it's time for everybody listening who needs some advice around insurance. And it sounds like, especially here in the state of Georgia, that's where you're licensed. So how would they get in touch with you? How would they get in touch with the Chrissy Pulliam Agency? How would people get some good advice around insurance?
Hey, absolutely. Well, so we do have a website, the Chrissy Pulliam Agency, American Family.
Spell that.
Chrissy Pulliam. So it's CHRISSY. Did I do too many S's? 2 S's. CHRISSY. Pulliam. PULLIAM. It's harder to say when you're not looking at it.
It's like a quiz. You gave her a pop quiz, Harper.
Well,
I did not get an A in spelling. I'm dyslexic.
Right. 2 S's, 2 L's. Chrissy Pulliam, 2 S's, 2 L's. Yep. There you go. So it's the Chrissy Pulliam Agency of American Family Insurance.
Yeah. So you can always go on our website, reach out to us that way. Our phone number is also 470-202-7315. Look at that. Right off the top of my head. And we also have a location right in downtown Buford off of South Hill Street. You just, right where Hamilton Mill Road turns right into South Hill Street. You're passing the, all the fun downtown Buford stuff. You'll see a little gray building, American Family sign out front. Pull on in, stop on by. We got T-shirts to give away. Yeah. I know, fun.
Reid's wearing her Buford green
I
T-shirt
am.
today.
This is a Chrissy Pulliam line. This is a Chrissy Pulliam line. On the back of it. You got to, read the back of it. It's super cute.
What's
Oh, goodness. Dear person behind me, the world is a better place with you in it. Love the person in front of you.
How about that?
How cute.
Never seen that message before.
No, I like that. Little car insurance message there. Drive safe, everybody. Right?
I hope you can't see that from inside my car. If you're behind me in a car, you better not be able to read my shirt.
Okay, well then stop bumping into people,
yeah,
right?
You're going to be calling me if you're able to read my shirt.
Is there a hashtag at the bottom?
Some
Don't be a clumsy
Yeah.
driver.
Yeah,
Don't
hashtag don't sue me.
Don't be reading my shirt while you're driving your car. Eyes on the road, people.
My eyes are here. Hey, you made an interesting point, Stephen, when you're talking about, and you got me, you know how smart I am, is about the amount of money that you would spend on your streaming.
Right.
So you're basically telling us to keep your eyes streaming, but then put some money away to work on your insurance as well.
Sure.
That's the message I got.
Yeah, well, listen, so I'm not allowed to say it often because of compliance. I am allowed to say my day job is I'm an independent financial advisor. And I've told people, I started my career telling people, if you can afford a cell phone or you can afford a streaming plan or you can afford your cable bill, you can afford to do something for your kids' college or your retirement or whatever. Absolutely. The idea being start with something. And one of the key things, we've got an insurance advisor here with us. Everybody should have some kind of life insurance because the worst possible thing that could happen to your financial plan or your life is that your life ends and you leave people. You need to, and life insurance creates an instant estate.
It does.
That's what I learned in my life insurance class.
Yeah.
And there is a life insurance class. We should take it in school, but no, you have to take it in the career. It creates an instant estate. It creates something to cover your bills and to take care of your family.
Absolutely. Well, and there just needs to be insurance, kind of those world classes where everyone just kind of learns a little bit about the world. Because, of course, nobody wants to pay a ton of money in insurance, but you have to remember insurance is covering your most valuable objects. How are you going to get to work if you don't have a car? How are you going to drive a car if it's wrecked? One of those situations. But also with your home, that is going to be your biggest investment, or your business is one of your biggest investments. If it's not properly insured and you go belly up because your home or your business wasn't properly insured, then just because you didn't want to pay that extra few dollars, that's not fun.
My friends from high school, we used to say, if anything bad happens, we go, well, that was the fire. Or that was the flood. Or remember that hurricane and tornado that swept that? That's why I forgot to not be there. But now we can
Bigger
add
than dog ate my homework.
sewage backup.
Sewage backup.
Sewage backup.
It was the sewage backup.
Hey,
Wow.
and call your insurance agent before you file claims.
Listen,
call your insurance agent.
Exactly.
Do not file claims willy-nilly. Just call them.
They're there to help you.
Yep.
Speaking of there to help, Reid Tullis from the Chrissy Pulliam Agency,
Whoop, whoop.
you were there to help. Thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely. Love to be here.
Absolutely. Harper, I think I owe you an apology. I think you were trying to make a good joke there with the streaming, and I just ran with it and went into financial advisor mode, so I apologize for that.
Segue.
It's all good.
Yeah.
You know,
But-
either the joke hits or it's a swing and a miss. And
Okay. Y'all missed one of my jokes earlier, too.
We did. We just didn't laugh at it.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I did miss it. I missed it completely. You know who doesn't miss is Regions, especially with their commercial banking. We all know that keeping your company's financial future on track means having the right resources to support your growth. Regions Commercial Banking offers you lending capabilities and strategic solutions tailored to your needs, and you'll work with a team of experienced bankers here in Gwinnett. Discover steps to take that can help move you closer to your business goals. Regions is here to help. To learn more, visit regions.com/commercial-banking. Don't forget the dash. Regions Bank.
Member
FDIC. Well, we've come to the end of a great show, Harper.
Yeah, let
Too
me know
bad
when
Reid
y'all go
doesn't
viral.
enjoy. Too bad Reid doesn't enjoy her work, her passion.
Yeah,
for
I
business.
wish
It's a shame.
Reid, just so much like our guests, they don't enjoy what they do.
I don't. I'm
Yeah.
miserable.
Yeah.
I'm only here just to be miserable. As I'm saying
actually, I
this, I'm
think
smiling, everyone.
I think she's actually trying to
There's a joke.
be a second co-host on the show. I think that's
hey,
what
I'm
she's
down. Y'all are
I'm
gonna go
for-
viral from this. You're gonna give me a call and be like, "You got to come back. You're so cute."
Yeah, I'm gone. Right?
I'm here for
Steven?
it.
You're-
Yeah.
I'm gone.
He
No,
said
it's
third
me.
co-host. He said third.
Yeah, well, then it was second. I don't know. All I know is when you tune in to Gwinnett Business Radio next episode, I will not be doing the introduction. You will not be doing the introduction, Harper. I don't know. Maybe they'll have Reid do an introduction.
Hey, I'll do it. I'll shout out Subaru.
Yeah.
Or Mike, who's right over our shoulders, literally right now. saying, "Let's
So Mike has moved from
Wrap
the
it up.
cubicle to over the shoulder, so that means it's time to wrap up the show. So we want to thank our guest, Reid Tullis, for being here today from the Chrissy Pulliam Agency. Want to thank Dan for producing the show. Want to thank Amanda for doing the introduction. Want to thank Mike for standing over our shoulder, threatening us to get done with the show. So for my co-host, Harper LaBelle, this is Stephen Julian saying we will catch you next time on Gwinnett Business Radio.